The Boston Celtics come out on top over the New York Knicks 104-102, courtesy of a Jayson Tatum buzzer beater. We'll call it a buzzer beater. There was 1 second left on the clock. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Josue Pavone and Jimmy Toscano. Guys, another slow start for the Celtics before we jump into that crazy fourth quarter. This has been a reoccurring theme. Brad Stevens says he doesn't quite know why it's happening, but if they're coming out on top at the end of the game, he said he'll take it. At this point in time, it's still a small sample size, but what do you think is going into these kind of lethargic opening couple minutes?
I think it's just them adjusting, you know? I just think they've faced a lot of different kind of teams, especially this New York Knicks team. You talk about a team that they just faced last weekend. You know, of course, there were adjustments made. Brad Stevens also talked about what they did with Mitchell Robinson, how effective he was on the defensive end of the floor. So I just think those first 12 minutes, even half of the second quarter, it takes them a little while to adjust, but once they're in it. And you look at guys who are playing 35-plus minutes, you know, Walker, Smart, you know, the Team USA 4, that helps in the sense of saving that, you know, little burst of energy that they have in the fourth quarter or in the second half. I think it plays a big part. And I think Brad talked about when Jaylen Brown eventually does come back, he wants to put those minutes down a bit, but in the meantime, it's working. And those 4 guys have been so important for this team, or 3 guys minus Jaylen Brown have been so important these last 2 outings.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has a real answer for it. I just think that it's early in the season. You know, this is a new team. You know, when one of your best players is completely new to the team in Kemba Walker, there's a little bit of a feeling out, despite the fact that they did play together over the summer and they've had preseason and all that. There's still that feeling out stage, and I think also, while you can call Kemba a superstar and you can call Hayward and those guys superstars, there's not like a bona fide like LeBron James or a Kyrie or somebody who's really going to get them all going, like a burst of 10 points right off the bat. So they don't necessarily need to come out to these crazy fast starts. They just need to keep it close, play defense, and let their defense turn into offense.
Let's talk about Kemba Walker. He had 33 points against the Knicks on Friday night, and that's his 3rd straight game with over 30 points. How clutch is it to have someone like that? He might not be a superstar. He might not be a top 10 player in the league.
Whoa.
But
hold on.
Maybe not top 10, but all right.
Right.
All right.
15, 20 for now.
The debate's out there.
The UConn bump, we'll put him to 15.
You know I'll always give him the UConn bump. But in the fourth quarter, when he has the ball in his hands, you feel pretty good about it. How important is it to have someone not only like that, because they did with Kyrie, but now it's someone that the team wants to see score the ball.
Yeah, and he's also not keeping that ball, you know, for 12 seconds, like, you know, the last starting point guard. Yeah, he's watching the clock. He's getting everyone involved, and I think he's picking his spots. Like in New York was different. That was sort of like takeover. Kemba at MSG, back home, the Bronx native, of course, went off. But in this game, it was a little different. He went about his approach to getting those 30-plus points was a bit different. He got everyone else involved, and of course, you know, he wasn't the guy that they had to lean on in that final minute. It was somebody else. You know, so that's the kind of DNA, or that's the kind of identity you want to see from this team. You're not necessarily sure who's going to go out there and who's going to put the team on their back, but you know that Kemba Walker is due, or at least going to be most nights scoring above 20 points, and right now he's been scoring above 30. So that's how focused he is.
Yeah, and I think he's really good at picking his spots. You know, he's not a shot chucker. He's not a Carmelo, one of those guys. When he's feeling it, when he thinks he's got a good shot, he'll take it. When he sees somebody else that has a hot hand, it was pretty obvious early on that Tatum had a hot hand tonight. He was hitting the shots. He was the team's best scorer to start the game. He was the only one hitting the three-pointer shot to start the game. So I think Kemba knew that he had options tonight. So he didn't have to be, you know, Madison Square Garden Kemba. He could distribute. He could, you know, watch other guys take a shot and be fine with that. And it turned out that was the difference. But you absolutely need a guy like him that can score in bunches, that can take over a game, but has to know when and where. And, you know, there's a time and a place.
Yeah, plus he gets to the free throw line. I think that's going to be big.
That's what I wanted to say, and I forgot to.
That's a big part of his game, and I think it's going to, you know, really carry him to those performances, those 20-point performances, or 25-plus, 30-plus. Getting to the free throw line is so important for him, and he's been nailing it. And also, he's been making a lot of threes. You know, I think that's something that's always been a little overlooked. He's throughout this last 3-game stretch, he's shooting about 43%. That's huge. That's huge for this team. Outside shooting is very important for this team. One of the concerns going into it, but right now it's looking pretty good.
He's like Isaiah, going to the line and hitting those free throws.
I like
that. Very true. Yeah. This Garden Report is brought to you by CBS Sports HQ, the brand new streaming sports news network. No logins or signups required. Just download the CBS Sports app and start watching CBS Sports HQ today.